All right, here's the first no-nonsense guide on how to ride a motorcycle. This is the only video you'll ever need, I can assure you that. So without further ado, we're gonna break this video up into 3 parts here. So first, we're gonna do off the bike, so controls and stuff like that. Then we're gonna get on the bike, and I'm gonna teach you how to start riding. And then we're going to show you in motion and how to do the shifting while you're riding, stuff like that. So watch each step. Okay, I promise you, you're going to want to learn every single thing I have to say in this video. Okay, so before you even hop on the bike, I highly recommend using gear. So riding gear, there's plenty of different options you can go with. I am personally sponsored by NBT and KYT helmets. So if you need any of those, you can use code Zenith. There'll be links down in the description below. You can get 15% off your order for NBT and 10% off for KYT. And it helps me out a little bit as well, and I promise it's good products. Okay, they might be like, Zenith, you're not wearing gear right now. Okay, I promise. Normally I do. It is 90 degrees outside today, and I'm standing in a hot parking lot. So for this demonstration, I'm not gonna be wearing a jacket. If it was my first time riding, I would wear a jacket. Still got the protective pants, boots, gloves, and a helmet on. So at least I'm doing that, okay? But let's go ahead and start off the bike. So off the bike, we're gonna go front to back, and I'm gonna teach you all the controls that there are and all the things you need to know before you even step on the bike. So first things first, at the top you have your clutch lever. Your clutch lever is basically like the bouncer of your motorcycle, so it decides what happens, if anything happens at all. Without the clutch, nothing happens. Okay, this is literally like the Jesus of your bicycle. Motorcycle, not bicycle. So we'll get into more of what that does in just a moment here. As we move to the handlebar, this is just a normal handlebar, not much to it, doesn't twist or anything. You got your controls here, so let me show you what these do. Different on every bike's a little bit different. For mine, this flashes your bright lights, this button up top. This turns on your bright lights and turns them off. This is to cycle through your menus on your display here. Blinkers, pull left to go left, push right to go right, and push straight in to cancel your blinker. And then here you got a little horn. Okay, so that's always fun. That's always a fun time. We're gonna move over to the middle. You got your ignition. Some bikes are a little different, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. You got off, you got on, and then if you push in, pull your handlebars down, and turn to the left, you got lock. So essentially what lock does, it just locks your handlebars so nobody can steal your bike and roll it away in a straight line at least. Then let's move on over. You got your brake fluid reservoir. Don't need to worry about that unless you're doing maintenance and things like that. Then you got your on and off switch. So that's off, that's on. You'll also hear this be called the kill switch at times. Hazards, you got that. Push to the left, turns your hazards on. Pull to the right, turns them off. And this is your ignition. Some bikes will have this and this built in together. So to start your bike, all you gotta do is push that down and it starts. For mine, you gotta push this down and then push this button, but I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then moving on to the right side, this is the throttle. So it's pretty much the same as an accelerator in a car. Twisting it back is the same thing as pushing down on the pedal in your car. It accelerates, okay? Easily said. This is your front brake, so pull that. That's your front brake. There you go. Moving on down to the right side, you got this little lever here. This is your rear brake. So front brake is up here, but rear brake is down here, and that's controlled with your right foot. So everything braking is on the right half of your body. So front brake, rear brake, easy as that. Now, conveniently, everything for shifting is on the left side of your bike. So as we talk about the clutch, that'll come into play here in a moment, but that's to do with shifting. And so is this little shifter lever down here. So most bikes that you will be starting on are usually 6-speed. If you're starting on a sport bike, Groms and stuff, those aren't quite 6. I believe Groms are 4. I can't remember. It's been a minute since I've had my Grom. Wow. But essentially, this is how the gears work. So you got first gear, which is all the way down. A half click up is neutral, and another click is second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, so on and so forth. That's the same if you have a 4-speed bike. Bottom is first, half up is neutral, second, third, fourth. You just don't have fifth and sixth, but it's the same thing. Super simple. Couple little simple things. How to use the gas tank. You're gonna want to pull your key out, pull this lever up right there, push in, twist clockwise, and pull up. There you go. There's your fuel. I got a full tank right now. That's a first. And then on the rear, you got the seat. Now, if you want to take the passenger seat off, you push the key in like this, twist clockwise again, and then pull up. Mine's a little busted because I kind of broke it. Pull up and then pull out, and then it'll come off like so. To put it back on, just slide it back, twist the key again, drop it down, let go, pull it out, boom, you're good to go. Easy as that. All right, so let's go over how to actually ride the bike. So this is part 2 of the video, when you're on the bike and how to get going here. So first thing you're going to want to know is how to turn on the bike. So all you're going to want to do is once you got the bike pulled up at balance point, it's centered, you know, get it off the kickstand. You're going to want to pull that kickstand up with your left foot, and then you're going to twist the key to the right. Twisting the key puts it on the on position. The bike's ready to go. All you got to do, flick your kill switch down to the on position, and then press this ignition button. Press and hold it for like a second or two, and it'll start the bike up. You'll hear it. It'll be obvious. Okay, super simple. One thing I do want to note real quick is you see right here that green little N. That means that I'm in neutral neutral on the bike. So neutral is whenever the bike can freely roll forwards and backwards. So starting the bike in neutral, just make sure that you don't have any surprises whenever you get going. I'm gonna turn it off just to save my battery. But let's talk about how to start. So what you do whenever you start the bike, you have the bike running. I'm gonna keep it off just so I'm not overheating in this hot parking lot. You're gonna wanna pull your clutch lever in. Turn the bike on, you have the clutch lever pulled in, you're ready to go, okay? So all you gotta do to start rolling is with your left foot and the clutch lever pulled in. Again, left side of your body is completely for shifting. Don't even worry about the right side right now. Just the left side. So pull the clutch in with your left hand. Your left foot is gonna click down. That'll put you into first gear. And then we'll go from there. So let me fire up the bike and I'll show you exactly how it's done. So again, to start the bike, twist the key to the right, push down on here. Some bikes it'll fire up after you push down on here. For mine, I gotta push down and there's an ignition button here. Press that, have the clutch pulled in, make sure you're in neutral there. If you're not in neutral, just click around with your left foot, go down and up until you see that little green N illuminate. Once you're there, again, have this clutch pulled in, left foot, push down. You'll hear it snap and click into gear. My bike shows me the gears. Most modern bikes do actually. It'll show you the gear up here. So we got that. And then to start going, super simple, okay? Follow what I say and you will not mess this up. It's literally impossible. Don't overthink the process. It's super simple. So to get the bike to move, again, the clutch is kind of like the bouncer. It decides what happens and what doesn't happen. So just slowly let go of the clutch, very slowly. Don't drop the clutch, because whenever you drop the clutch, this is what happens. That's called stalling the bike. The bike cuts off. So what you want to do whenever you have the bike on, you click down into first gear, slowly let go of the clutch, and the bike will start to move. The bike will start to move. Just hold it right there. See, I'm not let all the way out, but I'm not pulled all the way in. That's pulled all the way in, and just let it out a little bit until the bike starts to pull. You'll feel the bike start to pull. Again, I'm not using any legs or anything. I'm walking with the bike, but just so I don't fall over. But the clutch is the one doing all the work. Just do that back and forth. So let go a little bit, bike starts to move, pull the clutch in, and pull the front brake, come to a stop. Okay? Then you're gonna wanna scoot back, or you can spin around, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm gonna scoot back just because I don't have enough room to turn around right here. Scoot back, pull that front brake, come to a stop, and do it again. Slowly let go of that clutch there, and just let the bike waddle. Easy as that, okay? I'm gonna put it back in neutral, which is again, a half click up. See the N pop up on the dash, you know you're in neutral. So once you've got that part down, it'll be super easy. You won't stall at all. Okay, I'm manifesting it. If you do stall it, just turn it back on like I showed you before and just keep trying it until you get it. But once you're ready, you know, once you've got it like that, let the clutch out a little bit more, very, very slowly. Eventually, you can let the clutch out completely. I'm not touching the clutch at all, not touching the throttle at all, and I'm just rolling. That's just how bikes work. Oh, I'm balancing. This is great. But that's it, you know, just like that. Now you're riding your bike. Super exciting moment. I remember when this first happened to me, I was ready to throw a little celebration. If you want to come to a stop again, pull the clutch in first and then pull the brake. Now anytime you're going to brake or come to a stop or slow down your bike at all, for this point in the video, pull the clutch in all the way. Pull it in all the way, otherwise your bike will come to a stop, but more so a stall. Okay, it'll stall out and you don't want that. So pull the clutch in before you brake. These two guys kind of work together. They're like little friends. So what's the next step for you? The next step, once you're ready and you're comfortable just cruising around without the clutch pulled in, you know, you're feeling good, you got the balance on the bike, you got your gravity centered. If you're feeling like you're tipping over a little bit, just squeeze the tank with your legs. That's why it's built like this, is so you can squeeze it with your legs and it keeps your gravity centered. And put your both hands on the handlebars and just kind of ride it like a bike, like a regular bicycle. It's super easy at this point. Now if you're feeling comfortable, you're at this point, you can twist the throttle just a little bit, like that. Super simple. Don't go too much, just a little bit. Just get comfortable with how the throttle works and how much you have to twist it and how much happens whenever you twist it. You can do some circles in a parking lot once you get comfortable with that. I would start off just doing straight line and then back it up, straight line, back it up. Make it easy on yourself. Don't do more than you can handle at once. That's how you keep your bike in good condition and not on the floor, which I highly recommend. So once you're ready, you know, you're able to touch the throttle and you don't feel like you're flipping out or anything, you're at a good point, okay? This is when you're pretty much ready to ride. I want to touch on two things real quick. First thing I want to touch on is braking. So when you brake, there's a big debate. Some people say 50% pressure on the front brake, 50% on the rear brake. Some people say 70 front, 30 back. Essentially, just make sure you're using both brakes when you brake. You don't want to just use the front lever. When I was telling you whenever we were doing just the clutch work itself, you can just pull the front brake, it's fine because you don't have very much speed. But the front brake isn't enough stopping power, and sometimes it can be too much stopping power and it'll make you tip forward a little bit. Now, nothing to worry about. These bikes have a lot of technology that prevents that, and it won't happen, okay? Don't worry about it. So whenever you come to a brake, you're going to want to use both brakes, so front brake and rear brake. For simplicity purposes, I'm just going to say 50-50. So if you want to come to a brake, remember, pull the clutch in first and then apply pressure to the front and rear brake. So front brake will be with your right hand, rear brake will be with your right foot. Like I said, all the braking is done with the right side of your body. But again, the clutch has to be involved because otherwise it's going to feel a little bit left out. So you got to pull the clutch in, 50% on the front, 50% on the rear, and you will slowly come to a stop. Keep that clutch pulled in, don't let go until you're in neutral. If you're ready to stop, use your left foot, half click up into neutral, because I was in first gear. Now we're in neutral, and you can let go of the clutch. You're free to do whatever you want. Turn the bike off, hop off, go for a walk, go for a swim, whatever you like to do. The next thing I wanted to touch on real quick is turning and cornering. This is something super easy, actually. It's just like if you ride a pedal bicycle. If you haven't, I'll briefly explain how it works. At low speeds, your handlebars are going to do most of the work for you. So whenever you turn, just turn the handlebars a little bit. Turn it a little bit. It's going to naturally pull your body into the curve, but you don't have to be all MotoGP on it, one knee off, dragging on the concrete, you know what I mean? That's a little excessive, and for a beginner, you don't want to do that. If you see somebody cornering the knee on the floor at 14 miles an hour, you might want to raise a couple questions. It might raise a couple red flags for me. But essentially just a little bit of turn on the handlebars, a little bit of turn. Your body's naturally going to lean. Just lean with the bike, do what the bike does. Keep your body in a straight line with the bike and just lean with it. Don't fight against it, it'll offset your balance. Just trust the bike, trust yourself, and just lean with it as your handlebars turn. So turn left to go left, turn right to go right. Once you get up to a little more speed, it gets a little bit more different. There's some counter steering that kind of goes into it, but we'll touch on that later. You don't really have to worry about that right now. It all comes kind of naturally, to be honest with you. So the third part of this video is actually riding the bike. So this is the fun part when you're in motion. You know, you have no trouble cruising around in first gear, but now what? You know, I'm up, RPMs are spiking. How do I get out of first gear? Well, you're gonna want to shift into second gear, obviously. So all you got to do to shift into second gear, like I said, the clutch is a part of everything you do. Super important part of your bike, probably the most important, arguably, over the throttle. Same thing as whenever you click down into first gear. When you're sitting in neutral at a stop, you click down into first to get going, except you're already in first. You're not going to click down, that's downshifting, you're upshifting. So as your RPMs climb, don't really worry about the range of RPMs. Some people will tell you to look at that and shift at a certain number. It really you just feel the bike, you know. You'll feel the bike kind of start to change in pitch, and you'll be like, okay, I need to shift now. There's not a magical number. Every bike is different. Every rider is different. It depends on your riding style. It depends on so many factors. So just don't even worry about your RPMs. Just feel the bike, and whenever you need to shift, to upshift. So you're driving, you want to shift up into second gear. You're going to pull the clutch in, put your left foot under this shifter down here, and just pull up. Just click up. It'll be a quick little motion. You'll hear the bike click. You'll feel it with your foot. No way you can miss it. So you're going to pull the clutch in, click up, let go of the clutch, and then you can drive. Super simple. So it's like a 4-step process. Pull in, click up, let go of the clutch, twist the throttle. So now we're just cruising in second gear. The bike has a little more room to move and grow and breathe a little bit, which is always good. If you're sitting in high RPMs for too long, your bike will start to overheat, and then you get all kinds of problems. So shifting is a good thing. It goes the same throughout the gears. I'm in second gear, I want to go up into third gear, pull in, click up, let go, throttle. Easy as that. Easy as that. It's super simple. Riding a bike doesn't need to be overcomplicated, and a lot of people make it seem, but it's super simple. Just take your time with it and get comfortable with it, and you'll have no issues whatsoever. Now the next thing I want to touch on is downshifting. So that's another thing you're going to want to do. You're like, oh shoot, Zenith, I'm in third gear, but I'm going 10 miles an hour. What do I do? All you're going to want to do is the same thing, but in a reverse process. So what you do, pull the clutch in. Instead of pulling up, you're going to want to push down on the shifter. You'll feel it click again, and you'll see your gear go from third down to second. So you're going to want to pull the clutch in, click down, let go of the clutch, and you'll feel the bike kind of jump a little bit. That's called engine braking. So pull in, click down, let go of the clutch, bike jumps a little bit, RPM spike a little bit. Now we're down in gear, we can go a little bit slower. If you're like, oh, I got to downshift again, pull in, click down, let go, first gear. I probably used the word simple maybe 15,000 times during this video, but that's what it is. Now, that's all you need to know. That's how you ride a motorcycle. I'm gonna go over one more thing before I finish the video off, which is a thing that I think is important and should be taught to beginners, just so that you're aware of it. One of the things I felt whenever I was first starting motorcycles is the jump from whenever you downshift. So you're in third gear, you downshift into second, the bike kind of jumps and it kind of throws you off a little bit. It might be a little weird. So I highly recommend just learning through that to begin with. So, you know, your third gear, click down a second, feel the bike jump, be okay with that, be ready for it, expect it to do that. But as you kind of get comfortable with that, there's a way you can negate that jump that the engine does. It's called rev matching. So here's how you rev match. So rev matching is the exact same thing as downshifting. You pull in the clutch, click down, let go of the clutch. The only difference is before you let go of the clutch, you're going to want to blip the throttle is what it's called, which is pretty much you just kind of twist it real quick. I can go into depth about it, but just for the basics here, all you got to do is blip the throttle, twist it real quick, let go, and then you can let go of the clutch. So let me show you what that looks like, and then I'll explain kind of the science behind it and why it's called rev matching. So say we're in second gear, which we are now, and we want to downshift into first gear. Instead of just pulling in, clicking down, and letting go, what you're going to want to do is pull in, click down, blip, and then let go. So it looks kind of like this, just like that. You'll probably hear bikes do this whenever they come to a stop. I do this pretty much anytime I come to a stop if I have time, if I have the space to do it. Just because it takes some pressure off of your front brake and your rear brake, and your body's not jolting forward and backward all the time. Now let me explain what it is and why it's called rev matching. So basically, if you haven't noticed by now, whenever you're in a higher gear and you're downshifting into a lower gear, you'll watch the RPMs on my, what is it, tachometer, speedometer, whatever. Click down, the RPMs jump up. So rev matching, the blipping of the throttle increases the RPMs, right? Watch. That increases the RPMs. So what you're doing before you let go of that clutch is revving up the RPMs to match where you think the RPMs will end up after you let go of the clutch. So if I'm in second gear and I'm like, I want to downshift into first gear, I'm going to pull in the clutch, click down into first, and I think my RPMs are going to jump up to 3,000. Just about 2,800 right there. So now I know, I'm going that speed at that RPM. Whenever I click down, I'm going to be at about 2,800 RPMs. So if I want to rev match down into first, then whenever I blip the throttle, I'm going to try to target about 2,800 RPMs. Just like that. I went a little over there. I probably hit 3,200 RPMs, but that just goes to show that it's not like super picky. You don't have to hit the direct target every time. Again, these bikes are smarter than you probably are because you decided to buy one, so we're all in the same boat together here. But essentially, as long as you blip the throttle a little bit, it's going to negate that engine brake that makes you jump and jolt forward a little bit. Now, the purpose of this is just for your lenience, for your pleasure. It just feels a little bit better, a little more smooth whenever you downshift down into first gear or down into second or down into whatever gear you're going down into. So again, just blip the throttle a little bit. The closer you get to the target RPM is the smoother that downshift will be, and it just comes kind of naturally. Like whenever I ride my bike and I downshift, I'm not even staring at the RPM. I don't even look at it. Whenever I'm learning it, I'm not even looking at it. Just kind of, it's all about feeling the bike. You got to feel what the bike wants to do and just feel the target RPM and just feel it out. And it's just going to take some practice, but it's super simple and it's not hard at all. Again, with the simple word, I'm so sorry. But let me go ahead and turn the bike off here. So I apologize if this video was extremely long, but I just wanted to go over everything that I know and that I've learned and the things that I wish I would have learned to make it a little bit easier, because I know there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to ride a motorcycle. It's probably one of the most common things to see and post on YouTube, but I wanted to give my own take on it, and I hope you guys appreciate and enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me know. I will take your constructive criticism. Also, if you're an experienced rider, I highly recommend scrolling through the comments real quick and just helping out some of the beginners who are having trouble with certain things. Again, I just want to stress, don't worry too much about it. Like, go at your own pace, okay? I sat in a parking lot for a few hours my first time just to get the bike starting to move. So everybody moves at a different pace. If you've ridden dirt bikes before, you might be a little more accustomed to it. If it's your very first bike you've ever touched in the world, like myself, it's going to take a little bit, but I promise you'll get it. It's super simple. There's nothing complex about this at all. Just don't overthink it. Take it one step at a time. I'm going to put some timestamps throughout this video. Hopefully you've noticed that by now, but just to make it easy, if you want to come back to this video, save it for later, send it to yourself, whatever you got to do to make it easily accessible, and you can be like, oh, how do I downshift again? How do I rev match again, and you can find the timestamp and come back to it. So again, I hope this video helped you guys out a lot. This is Pluto, my Yamaha R7, if you haven't seen her before, but I would appreciate if you guys were to subscribe, follow the TikTok and Instagram, links will all be in the description below. And again, if you need some gear, use a discount, so you might as well, you know, if you're gonna pay full price, it's a little silly. You might as well pay a little cheaper price. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.